Hey everyone, hey Wellness Crew, and welcome to today's reading of Fragments of Light, Insights, Breakthroughs, and Epiphanies. You can always go back to my former live streams of this reading as we're getting into this book, and you can catch up. So just go back to the former live streams, go by the date, and you'll be able to catch up very easily. Antidote for anxiety. Anxiety is a very common disorder which is suffered by many people. For some, it is experienced just occasionally during crisis or difficulty. For others, it is a permanent affliction and can be debilitating and extremely difficult. Those who experience it can get into loop thinking, which enhances the unsafe feelings and further stokes all the horrors that come with deeper levels of anxiety. It is tempting to think of anxiety as a mental condition that can be handled by thinking about things differently. But my understanding of anxiety is that it is in the cells of the body and is primarily physical, although obviously it also has an emotional and mental component. Ultimately, this suggests that anxiety is best addressed through the physical body, since it is a frequency and a vibration that the physical body is afflicted by, whose secondary affects are in our emotions and our mind. I have a very simple suggestion for dealing with anxiety in the form of an exercise where you place your palms on your belly and just breathe. This is where the anxiety stems from, as well as where all illness and disease ultimately stem from at an energetic level. So if you want to address a problem, the ideal is to go to the core, to the belly. Here's what you do. You place your hands on your stomach and begin to breathe gently and lightly. Bring your awareness into your palms and allow the breath to then drop down steadily, deeper into your belly. This happens without your trying. If you feel really anxious, you could also softly circle your palms, letting them move round in small circles at first, and then gradually making them bigger. Preferably move in a clockwise direction, since this is how peristalsis and digestion flow around the belly. But you can move them in any direction, so go with what feels right. This simple technique will begin to relax the whole system. It communicates to the cells of the body the feeling that everything is okay. We have to do this through our intent, and even though it may feel far from okay, the idea is to communicate reassurance to our body. You reassure your body as you would a distressed child, as though telling it, it's all right, it's going to be all right, it's going to be fine. You are not communicating with any sense of identity, or with a past affliction, or any idea that you have in your mind about why you think you feel anxious, or any worry about the future, or anything like that. You are just conveying pure reassurance to the core of your body. You are letting the soft animal of your body know that it is okay, that all is safe here, even when it feels the opposite. The body at its core essentially knows this truth already, so you are just reminding it. And the more you do this simple exercise, the more you will see that your body begins to remember. And as your body begins to remember, your breathing starts to move a bit deeper down. It is really important not to force your breathing in any way. There must be no forcing in this at all. This is just a pure and gentle listening exercise, where you are touching your own belly and allowing your breath to move with your palms, whether you move your palms or hold them still or both. And as you allow them to move or you allow them to be still, just gently allow the breath to start naturally moving down to where your palms are. You will find over time, as you begin to feel better, that you also begin to feel softer. You begin to tune into a deeper rhythm, and as this happens, your emotions start to settle and your mind feels quieter. You can use this technique as often as you want and for as long as you want. If you are suffering from anxiety, I recommend that you do it often. You could do it every time you think of it. Soon you will begin to tune into a space behind the anxiety, a feeling of, it's all right, I'm safe, it's safe to be in this body. As you feel that more and more deeply, you will come into a cellular memory of trust, the trust that your body has in life, and in the timing and the rhythm of life. It is that deep core cellular trust that you are approaching when you do this very simple exercise. Whenever you feel upset, nervous, anxious, or any of those kinds of difficult, perturbing feelings, try this simple exercise and allow your breathing to return to a more natural, rhythmic state. Depending on how deep the anxiety is, take your time accordingly. It is a gradual process, so you don't have to be in a hurry. You could do this for weeks, months, even years, and it will slowly, bit by bit, start to chip away at whatever pattern is causing the anxiety. You are just rubbing this sacred lamp of your belly and allowing the light to shine there again, and it will begin to shine in the core of every cell. Ultimately, you will begin to feel calm and relaxed, and your belly will soften and open. You don't need to understand it. Just know that it can take you all the way through to healing that anxiety. All that is required is patience, gentleness, listening, and surrender. The more you do it, the more relaxed and blissful you will eventually begin to feel, until you reach a point where you can just place your hands on your belly and feel it instantly. If you experience anxiety, this exercise could really help you. I hope you enjoy doing it and the simplicity of it. My love goes towards you, wherever you are and whatever levels of anxiety you are feeling. Dealing with teenagers. This is definitely going to be a good one. This is called Dealing with Teenagers, but it is not for parents alone. This is for everyone, including parents, because it is about dealing with the teenager inside each of us and seeing how our minds can contract around uncomfortable emotions. It is interesting that in order to unlock the deeper currents of our emotions, we must first unlock our minds. This is explored in the shadow of the IQ gene key in your Venus sequence, which is an integral part of the Gene Keys Golden Path program. The common story is that at some point we began to believe ourselves unworthy of love. Out of this deep-seated belief, we developed a narrow way of thinking and behaving that often emerges when we feel emotionally threatened or uncomfortable. For some, though, the pattern just emerges when it emerges. And you might just wake up one day and there it is. But however it is triggered, this pattern develops in each of us through the primary imprinting cycle of the mental body from age 14 to 21 during our 7-year teenage cycle. When you contemplate the shadow of your IQ through working with your gene keys, you become aware of the ways of thinking that can lock you down and hold your emotions back from emerging or coming out fluidly. You can observe that part of your mind that causes your emotions to not be expressed in a healthy way, and instead come out in unhealthy expressions such as blame, arrogance, accusation, self-pity, shame, guilt, or manipulation. Or it could be that this part of your mind simply cuts itself off. These are all just neural pathways though, and you can therefore reprogram them. On the other side of the shadow is the gift of the IQ, and its gifts are manifold. Once the mind has been freed from holding back our fuller maturity, an enormous amount of energy is released through our body and brain. So we have to be continually alert for and aware of the shadow pattern whenever we experience emotional discomfort. The good news is that as you open your mind once again to the possibility that you are worthy of love, then you become more intelligent. This relates to your IQ, which represents your mental alacrity, but it also involves optimism, which is not part of the average IQ test. Optimism is not the same as positive thinking. It comes from drawing in high-frequency thought forms, and it is the nature of a truly open mind. So the gift of your IQ is more than just about being clever and intellectual. It is about open circuit thinking. The mark of true intelligence is the certainty that you are fully worthy of love. During the Venus sequence, you learn about your true IQ and about the subtlety of the mental body and the importance of the qualities we draw into it, and how, in opening up to the cosmic mind, those higher thought forms open up our thinking. The Venus sequence can reconnect us to that expansive teenage mind we once had, that was open to all possibilities, concepts, and ideas, no matter how out there they might be. That mind is on the edge of the wisdom mind, and so we have to reclaim that openness of thinking and rekindle it. The way to deal with teenagers, or the teenager inside yourself, is through keeping a really open mind. When you feel that you are worrying, there is something wrong here, I am going to fix this, try to soften those judgment patterns. The open mind does not worry. The open mind looks for the possibility rather than the shadow. From there, the emotions start to move again. The love starts to move, and out of that, a solution is always found. Do you see the difference? If you approach with a tense mind, the solution will never be the right solution. Whereas if you open to expanding and willing to drop those judgments, then you soften, the heart begins to move, and perhaps tears start to come. Then you can approach any teenager or the teenager inside you in the right way. We are multi-aged, and the teenagers inside us need to be treated with respect, openness, and understanding, just as much as the teenagers in our outer life. If you can understand and relate to your teenager like that, your inner teenager or your outer teenager, they will feel that openness around you. Then they will be able to express whatever it is they express, or also not express it, because that is also their freedom. The point is that you won't feel pressure inside you to do or fix something. You can show understanding and just be available for them. Then the love will begin to flow, and in time the love will begin to find solutions. Love always finds the solutions. Love always finds the way. George Louis Borges. I have many favorite writers who have influenced me, and one that I used to read a lot when I was younger was George Louis Borges, an Argentinian who lived from 1899 to 1986. He was a giant of both Argentine and world literature, an absolutely wonderful writer, and I have a little story about him here. A young writer once asked Borges if he could meet him. The great man was by then blind and nearing the end of his life, but he agreed to the meeting. The young man said that reading Borges's works had given him a happiness and beauty that he couldn't find in life. The young writer, whose name was German Krall, went on to become a filmmaker and made a documentary, Images of the Absence, in which he talked about his memories of the meeting with Borges. Apparently, Borges had given him some very moving advice. The task of art is to transform what is continually happening to us, to transform all these things into symbols, into music, into something that can last in man's memory. That is our duty. If we don't fulfill it, we feel unhappy. A writer or any artist has the sometimes joyful duty to transform all of that into symbols. These symbols could be colors, forms, or sounds. For a poet, the symbols are sounds, and also words, fables, stories, poetry. The work of a poet never ends. It has nothing to do with working hours. You are continually receiving things from the external world. These must be transformed, and eventually will be transformed. The revelation can appear at any time. A poet never rests. He's always working, even when he dreams. Besides, the life of a writer is a lonely one. You think you're alone, and as the years go by, if the stars are on your side, you may discover that you're at the center of a vast circle of invisible friends whom you will never get to know, but who love you, and that is an immense reward. I love that last line. Sometimes I feel that is me, in the center of a circle of invisible friends whom I will never get to know, but who I feel send me their love. Obviously, what Borges is talking about is high art. But we are all artists in different ways. Our job is to transform the things that happen to us into potent symbols in whatever way we can inside us. When something becomes a symbol, then it also can become a teaching. It does not matter what form the symbol takes, because as he says, it could be a color in a painting or a sound in music. It could become a design for a garden that you are working on, or many things that you bring into the world. You bring the unknown and you make it visible in some way. So in that sense, we are all poets, and our work never ends until we die. At any time, revelations and insights can appear. I encourage you to look into the work of Borges. There are some wonderful short stories that he wrote in a collection called The Book of Sand, or El Libro de Arena. There are some amazing epic stories in there. They are very short, but rich with potent symbols which he does not explain. He leaves that to us. That is the power of a symbol. If you try to explain it away, it loses its magic and its mystery, because its meaning is different for each person. So whenever you are involved in contemplation of anything of a higher nature, let the symbols sink in, and your contemplation will open them up and extract the juices over time. Thank you, Borges, wherever you are. You must have been a wonderful man. Fragments of Light, Chapter 3. The Art of Contemplation. In the fast-paced world of today, you might worry about finding time for something like contemplation. But the beauty of it is that contemplation can happen in little pauses in our day, and it goes on all the time, in the background, even when we are busy. These moments of calm and lucidity seem like an oasis in the relentlessness of our busy lives, and we find that we can tap into a universal wisdom that can help us make sense of anything that comes our way. At the deepest level, contemplation becomes part of us, and then our whole life can be transformed. Harvesting Pauses. The Art of Contemplation, Part 1. Pausing is the foundation of the art of contemplation. It sounds like the simplest thing in the world, and it is a simple discipline, but it is hard in the beginning. Here's an excerpt from my book, The Art of Contemplation. And The Art of Contemplation is one of the books that I do live stream readings on. So this may be a repeat if you listen to these live streams, watch these live streams on a regular basis. Harvesting pauses. The technique of pausing involves nothing more than noticing life's natural pauses and then simply enjoying them. Everything in nature pauses. If you watch any bird, animal, or insect, you will see it regularly pause for no apparent reason. Actually, there are many reasons for pausing. When you stop in your particular activity, you become more aware of your environment. You also become more aware of your inner environment. You may suddenly realize you're tired, or that your mind was spinning, or that your breathing has become shallow and labored. Pauses like this often invite a physical sigh, as the body remembers to draw a deep breath and let go of some tension. The first stage of the technique of pausing, therefore, involves finding and spotting the natural pauses that open up before you each day. Once you notice them, you can harvest them like fresh apples picked from the bough. Pauses are here to be enjoyed. How long is a pause? A pause can be as short as a single breath, or it can be much longer. You can begin this technique by finding as many short pauses in your day as you can. For example, when you are sitting looking at your screen, perhaps answering an email or a text, before you rush from one response to the next, try taking a few deep breaths between each one, and perhaps look up and take in the environment around you. Another example might be when you are in your car and you get to the traffic lights just as they turn red. Instead of feeling frustrated or irritated, you could look at it another way. Life has just gifted you a pause. In that pause, you can enter the field of contemplation. These very simple techniques can have far-reaching effects in your life. A day filled with pauses is a calm and measured day. Nothing ever becomes overwhelming or causes you too much stress. What's more, when you get to the end of such a day, even though your body may be tired, your mind will still feel clear and uncluttered, leading to a deep sleep and a fine morning the following day. Pausing is a really enjoyable technique, and it could not be simpler. The challenge for the modern world is to try to find the pauses in your everyday life. It does not matter if you have a very busy life or a quiet and relaxing one. Find the pauses. When you find them, it is like finding diamonds, because each pause opens up a possibility through silence and a connection to your inner essence. This essence within you is always completely at ease and is simply a witness to the passage of your life. The more we therefore rest in that essence, the more peaceful we are, the more connected we feel, and the greater capacity we have for breakthroughs. Breakthroughs can be about all kinds of things, and as a result of them, we begin to see things with a clear mind and an open heart. And then patterns can really change in our lives. Sometimes negative patterns can even change on their own, just through filling our day with pauses. When you fill your day with pauses, you are actually giving yourself more time. It is an amazing paradox that the more you pause, the more time you create for yourself. You will see that your day runs far more efficiently than when you were racing ahead from the beginning to the end, hardly aware of what was going on around you, while you were absorbed in the stream of busyness. So fill that busyness with the little lights of pauses. Learn how to harvest them, and you will see a miracle growing in your life. All right, so we are in chapter 3. We're getting close to about halfway through the book. Thank you so much for joining me today for this reading of Fragments of Light. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and or join as it is popping off on the membership tiers. And I will see you on the next video or live stream. Be well, stay wild as well.